Hey y'all, it's your girl Danielle Ty. Today, I wanted to talk about some advice that my dad gave me when I was about 14 years old, and the topic is misery loves company. So when I was about 14 years old, I was talking to my dad about somebody who I felt like always had like a negative outlook on things, and it was hard for me to talk to them about it. And he told me then, he said, Danielle, I'm just going to tell you something that you need to remember for the rest of your life. Misery loves company. It's that simple. Somebody is going to always be willing to bring you down to where they're at so they could feel better about themselves. So it just brought me back to the time when I used to be a real life hater. And I just wanted to talk about that today and how I realized how much growth I've had. And I'm so happy to be past that. But now I have so much empathy for people who I do see have those same characteristics that I used to have back then, because I realized that it's just because not everybody's happy. It's more rare to meet somebody who's happy than it is to meet somebody who's unfulfilled and unhappy with their life. Like, that's just the reality of it. So let's just get into it, right? When I used to work at Jamba Juice, I was a manager at Jamba Juice, 19, 20 years old. And my manager, I was assistant manager. So my boss, he had said, Danielle, I want you to work with this girl. And he pointed to her, and I looked over there, and she was, hi, hello, welcome to Jamba Juice. And I was like, bruh, no. I was like, don't make me work with that girl. She hella annoying. We went to school together. I knew of her from school, never talked to her. But when I seen that we worked together, she had just got transferred, I was like, I do not want to work with this girl. Nobody is that happy, that bubbly all the time. I was like, bruh, she has to be faking it. And I told him, like, bruh, she's annoying. And he was like, well, it don't matter. You need to work with her. So I started working with her. And slowly over time, I realized how much I actually love this girl. I was like, bruh, I love her. Like, I couldn't help but to laugh and smile when I was around her. And at that moment, I had realized, like, bruh, I was really judging this girl because she's happy. Her happiness irritated me down to the core. I hated her before I ever knew her because she was always happy and smiling and laughing. And I had to really think, like, first of all, why is that a bad thing? And why did it bother me so much? Something that I used to really look at her, I used to be like, how is she this happy? And something that she used to do that I realized is that if somebody didn't reciprocate the same energy towards her, she would just not talk to that person. And it was never out of any hate. She would never start being rude to this person, anything. She would just cut their time, cut their time short. I'm only going to deal with you on what I need to, and I'm going to leave it at that. But the people who actually engaged with her the way that she engaged with them, she kept those relationships in her life. She kept them blossoming. And I started to really admire this girl. And I had to think, like, I think it says way more about me to hate somebody because of their happiness. So from going through my spiritual journey, all these things, and I've got to the place where I feel ultimate happiness, joy, appreciation for everything that I have, I realized how ahead of the game this girl was. Something that I've learned now from being through my spiritual journey is that whether you want to believe it or not, we all have a certain vibration, a certain vibe that we give off, and we are all on different frequencies. If you want to receive certain things, you have to already be on that frequency to receive it. It is easier for somebody to come down than for somebody who's on a low frequency to work their way up. Now, it's a whole emotional chart that I'm going to show in here, you guys, like right now. And this emotional chart literally shows you all the emotions that we feel. And what this woman Abraham says is, it's no way for you to jump all the way from the bottom to the top. You'll never be able to do that. But what you can do is gradually work your way up these elements. Work your way up the ladder. Now, I realized that I started my spiritual journey literally at 22 years old. So all these things, it's called shadow work, the dark night of the soul, whatever you want to call it, inner work. I literally had to work through all these different emotional things. How many times have you felt so good and you brought good news to somebody, and if they weren't in a good mood already, if they were in a fucked up mood, they brought your mood all the way down? And you could think like, damn, I was just hella happy and they brought me all the way down, and you don't know what that is. That is that person bringing your frequency down. So something that we cannot do is that we cannot relate to people unless we're on that same frequency. So what I realized I used to do when I was a real hater, okay? I didn't like a girl, right? I have an enemy. It's a room full of 10 other girls. Unconsciously, I'm almost looking for the girl who hate this female too, or hate somebody in the room, because I related to that person more. And back then I used to be like, oh, it's just because I'm real, I keep it 100. I was real sad at the end of the day. That's what it was. We look for people who could relate with us, and people who could relate with us are people who are on the same frequency, people who are giving out the same vibration as us. Now I realize that I'm so happy, joyful, grateful for everything in my life. I won't even waste my time with people who are not happy with themselves. It is so much easier to find people who are unfulfilled and unhappy in their life. It is so easy to relate to those people if that's how you feel as well. But when you get to a point where you are grateful for what you have, you happy, you don't want to waste your time with these low vibrational, low frequency assholes. I'm sorry, I'm saying it like that, but I'm saying it like that. Okay. And whenever I would get around people who just wanted to gossip and talk about their problems and talk about how much they hate this or how much, I just realized how I just don't have the energy for that no more. Misery loves company. People are going to always be willing to bring you down so they could close that gap. People who are miserable think that if they make you unhappy, it'll make them feel a little bit better. But that'll never do either one of you guys a favor. It is easier for you to keep your happy, good vibe. And if that person can't come up and meet you there, then they are just not ready to be in your life. It's that simple. I know that sometimes you can't cut these people out your life. The people with the low vibes might be a sibling, a cousin, your mom, your dad, your teacher, I don't know. It could be anybody. But something that you have to work for is your happiness. You have to work for that. And that means not allowing people to mess up your vibe. Not allowing people to bring you down. Because what you have to remember is that if somebody has to bring you down, they're already beneath you. And I told myself, I'm not going to stoop down to anybody's level. Now, I might be sometimes the shortest female or the shortest person in the room, but I'll always be the bigger person. Something that I realized that makes me so sad is that it's so many people out here who want to be happier, but they are not willing to put in the work. And I honestly don't get that. You must not really want to be happy. You must not really want to have a fulfilling life, because everybody who I know who's into the spiritual or studies law of attraction or even just works on their attitude, they tell you you have to do this inner work. Self-help, whatever you want to call it. Some people will be like, oh, she just self-help and she thinks she a therapist and she thinks she a guru and da-da-da-da-da. And those are the exact people who need to hear these words. But they'll hear these words and just think it's not true. Because I was a hater. I used to be like that. Now I just have empathy for people like that. I do. I feel sorry for you. Because it's easy to work through those things. It's easier to work through those things and become happy instead of living the rest of your life miserable and hating people who actually do love their life. I'm so happy I'm not where I used to be at. I'm giving myself a pat on the back. Now, if y'all want to stay tuned for more of my spiritual journey videos, I would love and appreciate that. Again, shout out to my new subscribers. I love you guys so much. And stay tuned for next week, the Smoky Mountains. And I swear to God, y'all, I opened a book and it literally went to the exact thing I was looking for. I swear to God, how is that? Is that not a coincidence? I think not. I mean, is that a coincidence? I think not. Whatever. Y'all, this is the shit this is the type of stuff that gave me absolute joy. Just doing shit like that. Like, how crazy is that? That's called a synchronicity. 1 through 22, a scale of emotions. Where are you?